The war in Europe may be nearing a turning point, but the future of Ukraine is still hanging in the balance. As the guns inch closer to silence, Kyiv has revealed a proposal from U.S. President Donald Trump: security guarantees lasting 15 years once the war ends. For Ukraine, that promise falls painfully short. Scarred by invasion and wary of history repeating itself, Kyiv is demanding far more. Guarantees doubled, even tripled in length, to ensure Russia can never strike again. In this fragile moment, Ukraine is fighting not just for peace, but for a future that cannot be shattered twice. For now, Donald Trump has told Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that he would think about it.
We discussed this within our teams yesterday and approved it with the President of the United States, that we will have strong security guarantees from the United States. Truly, now, this is not forever. In documents, this is for 15 years, with possibility of extending these security guarantees. I raised this question with President Trump. I told him that we have the war ongoing already, and that it goes for 15 years almost, and that's why we'd like the guarantees be for a longer period. And I told him that we'd very like to review a possibility of security guarantees for 30, 40, or 50 years, and that it then would be a historic decision of President Trump. President said that he will think.
The two leaders met in Palm Beach, Florida, behind closed doors, as part of an urgent push to end Russia's full-scale invasion, a war now approaching its fourth year. On the table were security guarantees, a post-war prosperity package, and a sweeping peace framework designed to finally stop the fighting. Zelensky said an agreement on security guarantees has been reached in principle, but the length remains unresolved. Trump made clear that Europe would need to play a major role, with strong backing from the United States. For Ukraine, those guarantees are not optional. Kyiv believes only legally binding American protection can prevent Moscow from launching another invasion once the guns fall silent. Zelensky says Trump confirmed the guarantees would require approval from the U.S. Congress, which is a critical detail that adds both weight and uncertainty. Ukraine originally asked for guarantees lasting up to 50 years. The roots of the war stretch back to 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea and quietly sent forces into eastern Ukraine. In 2022, Moscow launched its full invasion. Now, despite progress, major obstacles remain. No agreement has been reached on the future of Donetsk, where Russian forces are demanding Ukrainian troops withdraw or face an all-out assault. Kyiv refuses to surrender land, calling it morally and legally impossible. Another flashpoint is the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Europe's largest, now under Russian occupation.
Two questions remain: the plant, how it will function, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, and the issue of territory. These are two questions that remained in the 20-point document, and that's why I said that this 20-point plan is 90% ready, because there is no agreement on 2 points out of 20 points. As for security guarantees, I said everything is 100% ready as it is, so we will discuss a little more details regarding the term of these security.
The United States is searching for a compromise, including the idea of a free economic zone and even a referendum during a temporary ceasefire. Kyiv says it would consider such a vote, but only if Russian forces pull back and Ukrainians decide freely. After a call between Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, the Kremlin said talks are in their final stages, but Moscow refuses to say which peace plan it supports. Diplomacy is accelerating. Meetings with American, European, and eventually Russian officials are planned into the new year. The question now is simple but historic. Will Ukraine get guarantees strong enough to secure its future, or will peace come with risks that last for generations? President Trump told me he had a long conversation with Putin. He talked over all 20 points of the plan, point after point, and I thanked him for this. This is important that we all are in the same context, and that they discussed this specific document and not some other documents. He, Trump, said what Putin is ready for. I don't want to talk about that now in detail, but I told President Trump that for us it is very important. This is not the first time when Putin says something but does differently. For us it is important that words coincide with actions.